was going to say, by the way, that's not me. Well, I am so elated to be here this afternoon to introduce our Democratic nominee for governor. I first met Hannah Pingree in 2009 when I visited the State House for the first time. My state rep was my neighbor. She invited me to the State House. I went up there for a bill signing. Have no idea what that bill was. But I was standing right beside Hannah Pingree. Here's a younger version of me. A younger version of Hannah, although she doesn't look like she's aged all that much. And that is where I learned that someone young, someone with a vision, someone who cares about our state can step up, represent not only their community, represent this entire state, and represent young people, a vision for Maine, where we're investing in our communities, we're fighting for working class families. And I was inspired by Hannah in 2009. I have remained inspired by Hannah ever since. I had the honor and privilege to work for Hannah in the Governor's Office of Policy Innovation in the future. I know how she is as a leader, not just in public office, but leading a team, and that matters. It matters how you lead. It matters how you inspire the people who are working around you. And I could not be more excited that voters chose Hannah Pingree to be our Democratic nominee for governor. I cannot wait to vote for her in November and to be one of the first to say, congratulations, Governor Hannah Pingree.
To the speaker, he left out that he was in high school at the time. And then he asked me to be his graduation speaker when I was Speaker of the House. So I feel like I raised this guy. And I'm honestly so proud of Ryan, and I'm really grateful for his support, and Senator Peirce and everybody else who is here today. My friends and my family. This is not my son. My son is much taller. This is my nephew, Calvin. So, I'm just going to start off by saying that we did it. We ran a nearly year-long campaign, and we had a very careful count. It was painstaking for those of you who were watching. And I know, how many of you in this room were awake at 1:30 in the morning? Yeah. I'm glad you're in bed. I was in Augusta watching the YouTube link with all of you, and I will say I almost gave up and I drove back to Rockland. But it was painstaking, but the results are in, and I am so honored to be the Democratic nominee for governor of the state of Maine. And I've only had about 3 hours of sleep, so hopefully this is coherent. But I am grateful, I am ready, and there is no time to waste. I told you on election night that it would be at least a long week of waiting. Well, we waited a little bit more than a week. But Maine's election officials did their job, and they did it right. Every single vote was counted, and they checked it a few times, many checks. But that's how it was supposed to work. And that care and that time, that is exactly what voters deserve. I have spent nearly 25 years serving the people of Maine. But this last year, at kitchen tables, American Legions, town halls, libraries, boatyards, more Democratic forums than I can count, it reminded me exactly why I do this work. Because Mainers show up for each other. In every county, in every city, in every town, they never give up on their neighbors. And I will never give up on Maine. So first I want to thank you all for all of you who voted for me, who volunteered, and there's some hardcore volunteers in this audience, who gave me money even when it was a stretch, who made phone calls, who knocked on doors when you were tired. I will just point them out again. Where is Ed Suslovic? There are too many people to count. I'm just looking at him because he's still sunburnt from standing out holding a sign all day on election day. Many of you, including in this room, mayors, speakers, representatives, volunteers, organizations, you showed up before you knew I could win. But that's what this campaign was all about. It was about having faith that we could win this race and why we were running. And that is exactly what governing looks like. And I will not forget each and every one of you. I will just say that this was a crowded, very competitive primary, as it should have been. And I want to sincerely thank Nirav Shah, Troy Jackson, Shenna Bellows, and Angus King III. Every single one of them ran a serious campaign. They pushed me to be sharper, and they gave Democrats a real choice. I will say I count every one of those people as friends. I have worked with every one of them in different capacities. Nirav and I worked together during some of the hardest times of Mills administration. Troy Jackson and I were together in politics since 2002. We were both much younger, and he has been an incredible leader for working people. Shenna Bellows has fought the Trump administration. She is standing up for our voting rights. And I, again, am very pleased to have gotten to know Angus King on the campaign trail. He cares about issues like housing and clean energy. So again, I am so grateful to every one of them. I am appreciative of their support. And with their help, I will win in November. Of Maine, ranked choice voting meant a lot of you ranked more than one of us, and I'm grateful for every single one of those votes in whatever order they came. And to the town clerks and election officials all across the state, thank you. You tabulated a long and complicated race with patience, integrity, and Maine is better for it. And again, to the most important folks of all who are not here today, some of my fill-in family members are here. To my husband, Jason, who literally is driving my kids around today. To my kids, Elsie and Oscar, who honestly, I should have won this campaign because I convinced teenage children to be in a television commercial. And a lot of people actually really admired them. They did a great job. But now the real work begins. And again, those folks who are behind me, my team, my endorsers, my supporters, they made this huge thing happen. It is never about me. It is always about our team. If you are a member of my campaign team, just wildly wave your hand again. Race because I have the best supporters and I had the best campaign team. They are, especially looking at Johnny, he's a little tired. He also has a 2-year-old and somehow he helped me pull this off. But I am just so grateful to every single one of them. And again, raise your hand if you're in this audience and you did something somewhere along the way to help me win this campaign. Raise your hand. Did you help me win? Again, I am just so grateful. But now the real work begins. This campaign is about housing that allows young people to actually stay here in the state of Maine. Right, Mr. Speaker? Yes. This is about health care that we can afford, no matter what corner of Maine you're in. Again, whether you're in a rural hospital in Holton or urgent care in Portland. It is about Maine's potential, a real future for our kids, and the people who are working all across Maine just to get by. It's also about continuing to stand up to Donald Trump. His attacks, his wars, his economic chaos that is making life harder for every single Mainer every single day. So heading into November, I need every single one of you. Again, whether I was your first choice or your fifth, whether you ranked a ballot or just sat this one out. Beating 2 Republicans like Bobby Charles and Rick Bennett, it is going to take a coalition, a whole diverse coalition of stubborn, amazing Mainers, and we are going to pull together, and we are going to win this. Thank you to everybody in this room. I know that Maine is ready for a governor who fights for them on day one. We are not done. We are just getting started. Thank you, Maine. Let's go win this thing. Easy questions now.
We want to do a quick Q&A.
How are you going to win the support of voters who didn't select you as their first choice?
Honestly, I will say I am very, very proud of this ranked choice election, and I ran into voters all across Maine in this Democratic primary who are both Democrats and independents, and they said, "You're all amazing. Thank you all for running a positive campaign. I am excited to have any one of you as our next governor." I look forward to working with all of my opponents who have said they want to pitch in and help. And I look forward to earning the votes of every single person all across the state, Democrats, Republicans, and independents.
Bobby Charles, he called you a Augusta insider this morning. He said he's the candidate for positive change. What are your thoughts on that?
I will say it's ironic that Bobby Charles is talking about positive change. I have spent, my entire life in Maine. I have spent 25 years in public service in my hometown as a school board chair, working as Speaker of the House to bring people together to get things done, working on housing and healthcare and issues that matter to Maine people. So I will continue to run a positive campaign that is positive and not mean-spirited, that lifts people up, that actually cares about their neighbors. And I think it will be a contrast to Bobby Charles.
What do you say to people who think that your time in Augusta will be just a continuation of the Mills administration?
I will say we're facing some challenging times, and this president has made life much more difficult for Maine people. The cost of healthcare, the cost of energy, we have real work to do. I'm proud of the things that I was able to do with Governor Mills, working to expand access to housing, fight the kinds of climate events we've been seeing in our state. But I know that we need to do much more, and we are facing a crisis of affordability. And so I'm ready on day one to get to work. I know Maine people are struggling, and I think my record in public service actually delivering for people, working across the aisle, I think that's what Maine people want to see. They want to see results. They want to see somebody who cares about their neighbors, and they want somebody who's ready to stand up for Maine.
You can do it.